What is up, everybody? You are listening to Beyond the Breakdown. I am the host, JT, and tonight I'm joined with Maddie and Nathan from Fear Culture. How you guys doing? Or Anthony, I'm so sorry. Anthony.
It's all good.
It's funny because we do have a Nathan in the band, so I was just like, he's here too. No, man, we're doing good. How are you doing? That
Awesome.
intro was sick. I didn't know that I'm a
Yeah, I was about to say
uh,
I didn't know what the intro music was going to be. That was dope.
because you said the
Yeah,
video right before this, and I was like, oh, cool. But like, yeah, the actual song was sick too.
dude, huge shout out to them, man. They are like one of the hardest working bands I've ever freaking seen. They got like 2 albums out within the first 6 months of being a band, and they have like 60 some songs backtracked. I'm like, what the hell?
Good lord.
Impressive.
How's that even possible?
Dude, I know their
Wow.
guitarist Todd Holbrook. This could quickly turn into a I am Mook suck fest if I'm not careful. So I just
No,
so
that's fine.
right. So first off, man, how are you all doing tonight?
Yeah, not doing too bad. I was
Fantastic.
saying, I don't know if Anthony, I don't know, I don't think I said this or anything, but I got to record some vocals. Uh, for a female, finally, I feel like that's way too few and far between, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and
We love seeing
um, yeah, and so
it. Awesome.
that just had that today, and now doing this, and just a chill day, man.
Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear.
Amazing.
How about you, Anthony?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I just started a little long weekend and a little bit of time to myself, and I'm just ready to be on this podcast, man. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, dude, I've been anxiously awaiting this one, man. It's been an absolute unit of a week at work, and I'm just glad to be kicking back and relaxing with some cool dudes. Um,
Oh yeah.
so
Exactly.
so Maddie, I'm gonna kind of kickstart it a little bit and go a little bit further in my notes than I planned. But where you just said you were tracking vocals, what
Mhm.
is it like tracking vocals for a female? Was it harmony? Was it lead? And like, how's it different?
Um, it's way different because she's way better than me. um, no, I'm gonna be honest. No, so like my day job is like recording, producing, and writing for other bands and whatnot. And one of my friends wanted to sing over a song. So with me, I mean, it's a cover, so it's a bit different. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the things, a lot of like nuances are left out and stuff. So it actually makes it a lot easier, and it's kind of a bit more fun in some regards because we kind of get to just like all the stuff's written. We can like add stuff if we want to. You don't have to. Um, that stuff's really easy as far as our band goes. I think there's a lot um, with the mental health side of things that our band talks about a lot. There's a lot of emotion involved, a lot of, and I don't mean that in any negative way whatsoever, but um, I think it's just a bit more carefully combed through and thought through. And also, I'm in an apartment and I have like this mic over here, so we got to go rent studio time for me to be able
Oh,
to like
dude.
track screams and stuff because they get kind of loud and my neighbors are not fond of that. So it's a little different, you know.
I
But
I live in an apartment as well, and I also do vocals, so I understand your pain.
yeah, dude, you got like a couple hours like in the middle of the day where you're like, I could probably get away with this, and then like other than that, it's like I don't know, man. Like flip a coin. It's really rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know if you're like this, Maddie, but if I can't do vocals for a while, like I start feeling anxious and anxiety ridden, like I'm burning alive in a sense.
Oh yeah, that's like the whole reason I have a car. I mean, like, yeah, that's like as soon as the car, like I don't understand people that can like get in the car and drive somewhere and like just no, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about,
I
Anthony.
my
Like,
car does not move until music starts playing. That's my rule. And me and Matt
yeah,
have
dude,
always been like that.
yeah, that freaks me out. So as soon as I get into the car, usually alone, sometimes, well, Anthony wasn't. We just did like a band trip to shoot something, and Anthony wasn't in the car, but we immediately me, Nathan, and Dan had like a little jam sesh as soon as the car started.
That was me and Justin in the other car too. Like the car didn't
Yeah.
even move, and I was immediately door closed. What do you want to listen to?
Yeah. It was like, so we all know this song, right? We can all like have a good time. We'll
Yeah.
figure something else out in the next 3 minutes. But yeah, no, I feel it. I think to just kind of being maybe a little too hypercritical, but just being critical of yourself as a vocalist makes you want to keep, it's not like riding a bike for me. Like it's like I just gotta keep practicing and keep practicing or I'll fall off big time. So yeah, if I'm in the morning, I'll usually grab something for like caffeine or something in the morning, and even just early hours in the morning, I'll turn something on just to get that fix, just something to
Yeah.
sing along to, scream along to, just for fun. But also, I don't want to suck because I will if I don't do it in a couple days. So
I mean, I feel like that kind of resonates for anybody that is doing anything in the music industry. Like, if you go a couple days without practicing, even though you think you know this thing by heart, it's so easy to forget.
yeah.
It really is.
Yep.
So I gotta ask you then, like, thinking of things to forget, like, what is the craziest mishap you guys have ever had when it came to music? Like, it can be live, it can be in practice. Like, did you forget a note? Did you forget a lyric?
I forget
Good question.
lyrics pretty often. But I will say there was a time, the last show we played was with Bless the Fall, Thousand Below, and Nerve. And we were quickly running out of time and realized that for whatever reason we brought like all of these 1/4-inch cables, like we brought all these cables and not like the XLR cables.
XLR.
Yeah, so they like couldn't like run all of our stuff, and we tried to make it way easier by doing that, and they had to like the venue had to like find all of these different like DI boxes and stuff to run all of our stuff. And I think there was one point, I think we were all a little scared. I'm talking for you, Anthony, but I was kind of scared that we might not play because like
Dude, my heart was like stopped beating for like a good 90 seconds there until finally we just heard a guitar. We're like, oh, we have sound. We're fine.
yeah, something I think
yeah.
No disrespect to the sound guy whatsoever, but I think he had like Anthony's bass turned down for like a decent amount of time, and we were just like, bro, we're not getting sound out of anything. What's going on? So like we're already like borrowing all their stuff. Yeah, I mean that was like a like it wasn't even like secondhand cringe. It was just like we were all up there like getting stuff ready on stage, just kind of like I felt embarrassed as hell. Like doors hadn't opened or anything yet, but like I felt like everybody there, like the crew, like everyone's eyes were just like,
well, because Bless the Fall, like 2 of their members were watching a sound check too. So we're like, oh shit, now we're having issues in front of the headliner. Like, yeah. We're like, oh no.
All the other bands had to like watch or hear us like mess up everything. We changed like a lot of stuff for that show, and we're basically like all digital now, which we thought is like, oh dude, 5 minutes, get ready, 5 minutes, get off the stage. And it was just like, I don't know, man, it probably took us like 25 minutes to like get everything up up and running.
It probably took us 90 seconds to get off stage though. It was just
it was, but I don't know. Yeah, when I think of that stuff, it's I think our band likes to embarrass each other and just like make stupid noises or say funny things like in public and just try to either ruin someone's day or make someone laugh. But as far as like legitimate world embarrassment type, that's got to be up there, man. I mean, that was so
for
bad.
Sure up there. Like that was, my heart stopped for a minute there and I got scared. But actually at the same show, one that comes to mind for me personally, at least, it was at the same show. My buddy Eric, who I guess just commented, we had this long running joke from a Buenos Aires show we were at like 10 years ago. And dude is trying to make me laugh during the chorus to one of our songs, Phobia. and I'm supposed to sing through the chorus, through some of it. And I just see him doing some dumb shit in the pit. It's an inside joke. I see it, and I'm laughing, and I realize, like, I'm still playing. I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to sing there. Totally didn't. Totally missed that. It was like Matt just hits this line.
He
and
froze like that in person.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to sing.
Yeah, just yeah, that was. I didn't know about that until after, so I didn't.
Well, yeah, you know, like
You told me that like way after the
like,
fact.
oh, I noticed. I felt it immediately, and I was like, I really hope no one like noticed. But yeah,
That's really funny.
what are you gonna do?
Well, I mean, like, despite the mishaps and everything, I mean, you still got a gig with Bless the Fall. Like, that's huge.
Yeah,
Fun
we
fact,
played with them
that was
before
my
that.
first show I ever played.
What was that?
That was my first show I ever played.
Oh, snap, dude.
Yeah. So I was hyped for it probably more than some of the people that came out to see the show were.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a really fun one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those that aren't familiar with Fear Culture, well, I mean, I'm not overly familiar either. So what is the history? You guys just said like almost 10 years ago. So, I mean, how long have you all actually been a band?
Oh God, man.
Well, I want to say this
I'm
is
so old.
this is Matt's creative mind mostly at work. As far as the longevity of it, especially, I would say like me and Matt have known each other for some time, and I've gone to a couple of the shows as a fan, but I mean, I've only been in the band since about like April or late March, something like that. But I mean, I've known Matt through the music scene, playing in other bands. I should say the show the Bless the Fall show was the first metal show I ever played. So you know, I played in like a pop band before, and this was totally different. But knowing Matt really helped, because I was always hanging out with him and then going to the shows, and I was like, he's like, hey, we need a guitar player and a bass player, and I'm like, well, we can just merge my half of the band with you. We'll call it Fear Culture still, and I already know a lot of the music just from hanging out with you, so it just works. Yeah. And so I mean, but I know that since the beginning, this has been Matt's inception, and he's been the one that's been the main. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the main songwriter, the main lyricist. I mean, and it's crazy because I mean, even the new stuff that we're sitting on that we're really excited about, like we've gotten to help him a little bit with it, but it's cool to see just what his mind can come up with, because it just never ceases to. Like, I love all the stuff he writes, and it's great because it all works out.
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, damn, this is
so
absolute love,
man.
Well, like, there's just something about his writing I've always loved, and I always told him, like, in fact, there was a show I was gonna maybe have to fill in on guitar for, and it ended up not working out. But I came back to him like 3 days later, like, hey, I learned the set completely, perfectly, and he's like, no, you didn't. Came over and I played it, and so. Knowing the bass, it just kind of made it easier. And then he's like, hey, this is what I'm sitting on. Like, is this something you're interested in? I'm like, hey, man, as long as you keep doing this, we're good. Just, you know, I've always liked the stuff he comes up with. And, you know, he's introduced me to more music like Nerve. I didn't know who they were before we booked the show. So, but it is cool that seeing the new members, because I believe we're all four of us are new, or the four besides Matt are all new. Just seeing what new minds can come up with too. Like the stuff that we've just ad-libbed and be like, whatever you just did, keep that. Like, it's just really awesome. It all come together.
Yeah. There was a time, probably last year, I think, sometime in 2023, where Anthony came over and we were just gonna record and hang out, and he's like, hey, so like I learned all of Fear Culture songs. I was like, I was like, shut up, dude, let's record. And like you played them, and I was like, what?
you're like, no, you didn't. And I'm like,
yeah,
I did. Come here, and I'll show you and just play it.
I was like,
oh my God, you did.
I was like, this dude is dedicated. He Anthony can just like figure out. He's one of those people that like when you like hit a note or play a note or like sing a note, he's like, oh, I can find that right here. It's this. And it's like, bro, how did you do that? So I hate people like you. You suck. I don't understand.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, this is all lovey-dovey," and then now he hates me. So,
I got it. Well, I got.
If that gives you any idea of our relationship in the band,
I love you to death, and you know
I
that.
know you do.
Yeah, we've I want to say probably there's not anything wrong, and I actually like writing stuff on my own for the band and stuff for the band. The band started as just like an outlet as a side project for me to just um, talk about and vent and just be like a just a way for me to get stuff off my chest that I've been going through like mental health stuff. And then it became like an actual thing in like 2017. But yeah, I definitely think there's some stuff that we've written that has been mostly me just because we've had some member changes and stuff. But I really am excited. I was talking to Justin about this today. I really am excited about like what it's going to sound like when we actually get to. There's such a long process, like as you might know, JT, with some stuff where it's like we have this idea, but like by the time it gets mixed and mastered and everything's recorded and then it's the album art, like who knows when it comes out. But that stuff is going to be super exciting, and I'm really excited to just, even if it's people just going, I don't really have a lot of notes for this song, but I don't like that part, or vice versa. Like I think that this is probably the first time in almost 8 years that the band really kind of, it feels like it has like an actual identity. And this sounds so cheesy, but like its own sound kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm super excited. I think next year is probably going to be the biggest year of the band, and couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. So
real quick, Eric, I'm gonna butcher the last name, Myron. They say also, this feels surreal to me, knowing you and seeing you all up here doing interviews and podcasts. So I have no idea how you are feeling. It's so awesome seeing how you guys are and where you're going. That's awesome. I always love it when a band's fans turn in.
Yeah, Eric's the best. I think he's mad at me.
No, he's not mad at you.
But I don't know. I threatened him with some Super Smash Brothers, and I think it was taken the wrong way.
I love you.
I love you.
Sorry, I've got $50.
That's fine. That's fine. I just want to play Super Smash Brothers. That's all. That's all I care about. But
Dude,
yeah, no, that's really sweet.
I've been dying to play Yu-Gi-Oh lately, and I have absolutely nobody that plays it. I got a D&D group that we hang out, but nobody wants to play D&D or Yu-Gi-Oh. And I'm like, bro, it's been like 15 years since I played Yu-Gi-Oh. I probably suck.
Yeah, like I downloaded like the Master Duel or something.
Oh yeah.
And that's the only time I can get my Yu-Gi-Oh fix. I'm not a D&D guy. I never got into it, but the only time I can ever get my Yu-Gi-Oh fix is just like playing bots or like random online people that like totally ruin me every time. But I'm like, that was fun, childhood, and then
and then the nostalgia wears off.
Yeah, it's like, why'd I get on here, dude? Yeah,
that was me with Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah. Man, just not the same, man.
Grew up on Call of Duty. Can't do it anymore.
Oh, dude, same. Like I grew up playing Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops, and now I'm like, I can't last more than a minute in this.
I don't have time to sit around and sweat. I play single player camp, like The Last of Us, stuff that I can just play at my own pace. I don't have to worry about competing with anybody. I'm getting too old, and I don't have time to. I'm not that good at shooter games. I can't do it anymore.
I get that. So you said that you're getting too old. So now I got to ask, how old are you both?
It's funny because I'm the baby.
Yeah, that is really funny. Go ahead. Tell them how old you are.
I'm 26.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're
to be fair, I feel super old because my kid just turned 4. So that makes me feel really old.
I got you. How about you, Maddie?
Yeah. I turn 30 next month. Why do you laugh? I still think 30 is young. There's nothing wrong with 30.
It's okay, old man.
I'm surrounded by children. I'll be 35 this year. Like, what the hell?
Okay, but see, here's the thing. My brother is also about to be 35. So I think I've like subconsciously made myself feel like I'm that age group because I was always like, the younger brother trying to do stuff with like the older brother. So I guess I feel like I'm older than I am. Everyone like anytime I complain about my age, people are like, "Shut up, you're fine." And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You're not
I
even
don't
the
know.
oldest in the band either, so yeah, you're fine.
I'm not, but I used to be, and it usually is that way. So
I'm always the
yeah,
youngest.
yeah, you are, baby.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got the baby face.
I really
Yeah.
do. That's why I haven't been clean shaven in years because I just it goes back like another 10 years. And when do you graduate high school? I have a kid and I'm closer to 30 than 20. What are you talking about?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Dude, I got more years behind me, or like ahead of me, than I do behind me that I can look at as a teenager. Like, if it takes over 15 years to get back to being a teenager, I'm like, oh, damn it, dude.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, how was that realization, man?
dude, you just said, Maddie, that you're 30. So I don't know if it's like this for a lot of people, but for me, when I turned 30, things kind of started clicking in ways that I didn't realize, and like not necessarily in a good way, but like, oh wow, I realized there were things I was doing that were like really douchey and
Mhm.
really off-putting that I needed to kind of fix. And it was like when I turned 30, it was like a deadline was put on me. Did it kind of feel that way for you, or not at all?
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I'm just like, I guess, a drama queen, but so like I'll post the stuff online, which is like super dumb. But there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I I don't know why I let people know this, like posting on Instagram stories and stuff, but like I feel like like my bullshit meter and like my patience meter are like completely gone. They're at zero, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think that anyone here is like old, but I do think like, wow, all this time has passed. We really do have such a short time on Earth. Like, we should do, what we want to do with it, and I guess I've just kind of been like retrospective in like my life so far, and I and
Hmm.
I guess it's kind of just, yeah, I'm just starting to hit that point where it's like, okay, well, what, like, how do I really want to live, that kind of thing. Whoa, that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the retrospection and then the introspection hits all at once. And
Yeah,
it's like you become the sad boy for like an hour.
yeah. Hey, sometimes a little bit longer, man. I mean, I'm still there, but yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's super weird to think about, dude. And I've had a lot of people this year, um, in my close life, like, have a lot of health issues, and everyone's getting older and stuff. And that's something too, when you get 30, like, parents are getting up there, like, relatives are getting up there, family, friends, and it's just like, you
Yeah.
know, it's just one of those things where, it just is what it is. That's just like, that's what life is. So, um, you got to figure out how you live, what you're gonna do about it. So
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
my whole thing is like you kind of got to grab life by the balls and just
yeah,
like get what you want out of it. Because I mean, um, for those that have already seen past episodes and everything, they already know what I'm going to say. But like I was born with a blood clot and a brain tumor, man. Like they told me I'd
oh wow,
never walk or talk, and I've had 6 brain surgeries. Um,
damn,
and it's like, dude, if you don't grab it and take it, like life's not going to hand anything to you. And if it does, you're a very lucky person. But at the same time, like I don't know, man. I think we just kind of got to get after it before it's all said and done. Because I don't
yeah,
want any regrets.
hmm,
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
I want to ask you guys, and we're going to dive into a little bit more serious stuff and lighthearted, but where did the name Fear Culture come from? Because that's a very specific name.
yeah. When I was thinking of stuff, I've been in a lot of bands that I don't know if you've been like super into like the uh like MySpace bands and whatnot, like 15 years ago.
Fuck
But
yeah.
oh hell yeah, okay, cool. All of my band names, or like all the bands I've been in, I guess, that like up until this point, had very like, I just kind of wanted a name that was like, you could search it somewhere and like it would come up. You know what I mean? It wasn't like blank the blank, which I like, or blank blank blank, verb, noun, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And but at the time, and I could go on about this for forever, but at the time, how I was feeling in like late 2016, early 2017, I felt like there are a lot of things that contribute to this, but I felt like um, where I was at mentally, where healthcare was mentally, where society was mentally. I just felt like it was built on um it even goes into like government and politics where like everyone just um stays doing better and better if you're at the top, if you're in this continuous cycle of fear, and you live in a culture of it, is basically the, I guess, the easiest Cliff Notes way I can really describe it. um there were a couple other names that were like one word names that um thought about doing, but I just wanted something that um you could search that made sense and kind of represented something that the band would be able to be about, because at that time, like I said, I was just writing songs and playing songs that were just like mental health outlets for me. So um it just all has to do with mental health and all kinds of stuff relating to that, and basically like every category. So
I mean, I really love that because there's not. I mean, me and Matt Sassano last week actually touched on this. There's not a whole lot of bands or artists that bring topics to the forefront the way that you all do. Like, I was reading the lyrics to Phobia while listening to it, and I was like, I was blown away at some of them. And then the same with Detroit. Like I get the sense that you have this chip on your shoulder about what the big pharmaceutical companies kind of do to, like, you get that in your face thing that not a whole lot of people do, because a lot more artists are now going for that vague description that can be used in so many different things. And I get it, there's a time for it,
sure.
but I love how direct it is. What is it kind of like in your mind when you're writing these?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that process has changed a bit over time. I appreciate you listening to those older songs.
Matt
Yeah,
hates Detroit.
I do. I don't really like the old songs. Phobia was the
Oh,
first song I
really?
was ever written. Yeah,
His
it's just
favorite song is "Sick of It."
no, it's not. Shut up. Um, I just don't like those old songs just because they're old. They're like 7, 8 years old. You know, so they're just kind of
Although,
whatever.
to
But
be fair, I feel like when you grow as a musician, and this is true for anything else you do in life, but the more you grow developing a skill, you're gonna look back inevitably, and I mean, we're all human, we all do it, and be like, man, I think I'm good now. In 10 years, I'm gonna look back and be like, I was so terrible. Like, I'm so much
yeah,
better than I am, than I used to be. Like, and I think that's just like, because I've written music before. I'm not nearly as talented in music writing, but there's been some stuff that I wrote, and I look back, I'm like, man, I thought that was good. But I mean,
yeah,
that's part of growing.
Yeah.
yeah. For new stuff like Anthony and I, because he's a vocalist as well, and like we've gone back and forth and talked about some lyric ideas and whatnot. And I think, like, again, with no disrespect to what you described, I think there is a lot of I think there's even something really cool about like the vague thing, because it can be taken in so many different
Hmm.
directions and different ways, and it can actually, some people can be like, this is like my situation, what I'm going through," and like, the artist may not have, that's not what that's about at all. But like, that's really cool that people find and connect with it.
Yeah.
I think I think as as far as like fear culture stuff goes, I think the directness is kind of just started because I was so mad. Like I think I was just so pissed and wanted to do, because at the time the band I was in was a much lighter band, and like I said, I used this as an outlet, um, uh, as a vehicle to kind of like just therapy.
Yeah.
It just felt good to get that stuff off my chest. But there's definitely a point in time, and there are definitely songs that we have that are a little bit more vague, but um, I think with a lot of the things that talking about. Sometimes just because of the nature or gravity of what we're talking about. Um, there's a lot of times where uh, I'll go through something, or maybe someone in the band will go through something, and it'll be something that's so traumatizing that it's kind of like I don't want this to be like a hey, it could be about this or X, Y, and Z. Who knows? It's kind of just like it's more of like a kind of direct like fuck you, we're going to heal type thing is
Yeah.
kind of how I've seen a lot of it. In a lot of those songs too, um, that aren't as aggressive lyrically are songs about defeat and stuff, and it kind of just depends. Um, you know, who's collaborating with who and when we're writing it and what we're going through when that happens. But there are definitely more times than not that I would like to say at least where I go, I'm going through this specific thing. That means that someone else has gone through this specific thing. Usually it's I hate this specific thing. This is not okay. I'm going to write a song about this specific thing. And I guess that's just more or less how a lot of the songs have come out. So
Yeah.
I mean, I love that though, because sometimes, like, yeah, there's obviously collaboration within the band, but also, do you do, like you said, you do most of the songwriting, if not all of it. So you
yeah.
kind of have just that direct link, right? Just to be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, like, kind of do your thing over it. And you can kind of, I don't want to say that the songs get muddied in bands or anything like that, but you kind of just have the purest vision of the song one on one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think there's a ton of bands that do that. I mean, I can name a couple off the top of my head, but and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just a different approach. Like in my mind, it's you know, the beauty of the way I think Fear Culture writes, with Matt being the main songwriter, is he has this idea that he knows what it should be like front to back, instead of trying to piece together from five different people little
yeah,
parts, and this doesn't go with this one, so we have to save it for another song. But then and then I think that's where you said sometimes things can start to get muddled, where Matt can at least have the vision and get, if nothing else, the skeleton of the song. And we'll be
Yeah.
playing something. I'm like, Matt, maybe do like triplets here. Maybe we'll tune to this instead. But like more minor things to kind of put our own, like you said, I feel like that's what's been giving the band our identity, more and more. Like he previously mentioned, is that we're all willing, able, and have put our input into songs. I mean, even if the songs that are already written, we'll put like live, we'll throw our own little flair on it, or maybe I'm singing parts that the guy before me didn't sing because we just think that it works better with my voice, or because Matt's like, oh, I could never do the scream before because they always overlapped. Now I can do it. Things like that. And I think that's kind of where the beauty is. But I mean, that's, at least in my opinion, that's what the beauty of our method is.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. Matt, on the flip side of this question, what is it like now having a kind of vocalist to trade off with?
Dude, it's awesome. There was a song that we. Why did you laugh?
I
You
smile.
you laughed. That's crazy. Um, that's crazy. No, it's really nice because without Anthony, like obviously the things he said, basically what we're doing now is like I feel like for most of the songs that we're writing right now, it's like it's the guys give me enough room, which is really nice. I like really appreciate it to where like I'll go like, guys, here's a song skeleton. Does this have like any promise? Do you like this at all? If everyone's like, this sounds sick, then like I'll keep working on it. And then, everyone throws ideas in and it can, kind of work like that. But um, on the flip side of that, sometimes when it's just one person, you're kind of like in your own head too much. And there was a song that I'm still writing that I think we still got to finish. I think that song's almost done though. But um, I was writing a song, and Anthony was like, "Well, what is it about?" And I was like, "It's about this." And I sent him some of the lyrics that I had that were just kind of placeholders, and he was like, "I literally wrote about that exact same thing. I
Oh
have
yeah.
lyrics." Yeah, and I was like, "Wait, what? For real?" And you were like, "Yeah, let me find the lyrics. Like, send me over the lyrics that you have." And like what? So it's just so nice to be able to be like, I don't know. I really like making music. I love writing music, but sometimes it's nice to be like hey, everyone's not just like, hey, dude, when is the song done? Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
it's cool to be in a band, with everyone everyone wants to pitch in, everyone wants to be a part of all the processes, and that is not something I don't think anyone in the band takes for granted.
I mean, I definitely don't think it gets taken for granted. And speaking of the newer sound as well, I love what you guys are doing. You can obviously see the growth from the first EP into the latest singles that you all have put out.
Yeah.
What has kind of that evolution been like for you all?
Um, that's a great question because I like just asked the guys about this the other day. Kind of, I was like,
Okay.
"Hey, like outside of the band, like, what did you guys see as far as like?" Because we were having like this identity conversation,
Mhm.
and I was like I said earlier, I think the identity of band is really a lot more solidified than it ever has been. But yeah, I think it's just kind of going with like the changing of what we go through, what we want to do. I think that Anthony and I feel like probably everyone in the band has been in some sort of like metal band, metalcore, or whatever at some point. And um, I know with these newest songs that we both have and have released, it's kind of just like uh, one of those situations where we were like, look, if we're really gonna be heavy, or if we really want to do this, let's not like compromise. Like let's just do it. Like let's just do what we want to do. And I think that that's manifested itself in a really positive way to where, um, like I said, it I feel like we have much more um, like of a concrete um, standing on who we are as a band versus like
Oh, yeah.
growing up in your young 20s in 2017 I guess young 20s like um you're just like that band's really cool, I love that band, like you take some inspiration from them and then it's like whoa, everyone's switching their sound up, are we doing this wrong? And it's like all these doubts and it's like
Yeah.
hey man, like we know what we like, and I think probably like atmospheric stuff and um, melodic stuff and sometimes really heavy stuff. And just trying to find new ways to do that and do it just because we love it. I
Yeah.
think that's really, I think just like authenticity is probably it, to be honest.
Yeah, we're not afraid to dip our toe in the water and maybe go a little bit on the electronic side, maybe go a little bit on the deathcore side. We don't want to have to censor what we have to write, and I don't want to speak for Matt because, like you said, he's a main songwriter. But like, we're just not afraid to go into other territories. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should never like pigeonhole yourself, especially as a full collective band, because you never know what the next phase may bring. Like you guys may come out with a full deathcore style release, or it may
Maybe.
be more like crabcore. You just never know.
No, no one will ever know. I don't think. I think that'll just be a surprise for people, man.
So I mean, obviously, well, I won't say obviously, but to me, some of the newer stuff had elements of that newer metalcore tone that is kind of out right now, and I was getting like vibes with Wage War and Fit for a King and a little bit of Bring Me the Horizon on the clean vocals, even a little bit of Ghostmane on some of the older stuff as well. And
Okay.
or not, I really love how you all are blending these, and like you said, you feel as though you found your identity, and that's such an important thing, especially as a vocalist of a band, because I know for me, I'm just now starting to kind of find the way I naturally flow with the band that I have.
Mhm.
And it meant the world to me to kind of go from imitating to knowing that I was doing my own style now.
Yeah.
Um, so with that being said, what are some of the actual inspirations for your styles? Both of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like there's probably a lot that Anthony and I like cross over, and there's probably some that like I'm like and same for him.
Yeah, there's a
But
little bit of difference there, but I mean, we have a lot of the same music taste, and Matt's actually turned me on to a lot of new bands, like previously mentioned, like Nerve or other stuff, or more like the post hard. I definitely feel like Matt is a little bit more present in the post hardcore world than I am.
Mm.
I mean, my favorite bands are like Currents, Polaris,
Okay.
more like newer age metalcore stuff like that. I mean, but I mean, I'll listen to All Time Low. I'll listen to Spite and Body Snatcher. I mean, dude, I'll listen to John Mayer. I love John Mayer. Like, I don't limit myself to just metal, like, which is, I know a lot of people say that, and like, definitely don't get me wrong, there are genres I don't like. I'm not the dude that listens to everything, but it is cool because it can give us a unique perspective, or like, Matt being more into that post-hardcore world, like, I mentioned before, kind of just helps keep things fresh and just authentic and honest.
Yeah.
yeah, I think first off, thank you for like every artist that you mentioned because I think all of those are like massive compliments. Or I mean, and I'm taking it that way. But um, yeah, man, I think the way it works, or that it's been working, is that oddly enough, luckily, and also really quick to go back to your point, I'm sure like if you're in a band with dudes too, and also like please like send us stuff if it's out or whatever. But
Yeah.
um, a big thing for me is having people like in my band back me and be like, yeah, because like it's so easy to just, even if you're like just solely a screamer, like it doesn't matter. Like you can get really in your head. It's really easy to do that stuff and to have people kind of, kind of keep you grounded and like, hey man, you're good. Let's do this. Like um the guys have been so helpful with that. And again, having Anthony, like he said, he'll pick up parts live where I'm like, we'll play a song through and I'll be like, dude, I can't do that part right after that part. They like overlap. And Anthony's like, I'll do it then. And it's like, what? Really? And so that stuff has been awesome. But yeah, I think that there's been so many, like, I really like making heavy music. Um, I listen to a lot of like 2009 post-hardcore music. I really like a lot of like current pop music. But everyone in the band as well, I think like our sound in bands that have similar sounds, I think we all cross that together. But um, yeah, the last stuff I would say, oh man, it's tough. I'm trying to think of bands that aren't like so obvious, but as far as like inspirations, um, I mean, I gotta say, Bad Omens is a huge inspiration.
Okay. Okay.
The most recent album was crazy to me, and I don't know. I think Noah the vocalist is just an absolutely insane vocalist and has pushed me to try to do some stuff that I still can't really do well yet, but is I'm trying new stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that stuff is cool. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like you can learn in like the pop world as well that has maybe or maybe not helped kind of make some of the like lighter, more melodic elements catchier, just from like listening to pop music and stuff. But
Banging choruses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like there'll be sometimes where like Anthony will come in or like Justin will come in, we'll be hanging out, and like you guys will be like, yo, check this riff out, or like, yo, have you heard this riff? Like, and they'll play something, and I'm like, I have not heard this riff before, but this is so cool. And it's kind of just like, I didn't even know you could do some of this stuff on guitars. And so uh yeah, I feel like it's pretty much all over the place. But I gotta give a shout out to like the screamy yelly singers.
Yep.
That's the only way that my voice does the screaming stuff. So like Sam Carter is a legend to me. Brian Garris from Knocked Loose is a legend to me. Ollie Sykes, legend. I love Poppy. I love
Yeah. Okay.
Emily from Linkin Park. So
Does Craig Mabbitt make the list as well?
in my old band, we played a few shows with him. I love Craig Mabbitt. in both his bands, but
Our guitar player,
I've never
Justin's
gotten like a
Fate fan.
yeah. Escape the Fate and Dead Rabbits are both sweet, but
Yeah, they're dope. I know Justin loves them, and I do think like because I figured for you that 2009 post-hardcore, I'm like the Flood. Does that
Yeah.
make it? Does that not?
yeah, you know, Broadway, Sleeping with Sirens, Emarosa, that kind
yes.
of
Giodos,
stuff.
yeah.
Chiodos,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, Chiodos. Oh man, there's a
Yeah,
name I haven't
yeah.
heard in a while.
Yeah. All the names you haven't heard in a while. It's all those. Yeah.
Well, keeping in the post-hardcore spirit, and then I do want to hear some of Anthony's down there as well. Maddie,
Yeah.
have you ever heard Showbread?
I've heard of Showbread. There's a Christian music station. I don't know if they're still around, but there's a Christian music station that plays like all kinds of Christian music. So I heard them on that station, but that was like, I mean, yeah, that would have been like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're a little bit, they're like a little bit heavier, right? They're like
Yeah.
they're more of like a rock band, right? But they have like metal kind of.
yeah.
Am I-
They have like this post-hardcore electronica type vibe, and they came out in like
Yeah.
2002 with this
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
So
They're an
it's
old-
like
yeah.
crazy. They're one of my favorite post-hardcore bands, but
Yeah.
sometimes your screams reminded me of Josh Dies from Showbread, and they've also your
Oh,
cleans
sick.
remind me a little bit of a band called Emery.
Oh, I love Emery.
Man, yeah.
Oh,
That means a lot, dude. Yeah.
dude, you just became my
That's
favorite
really
guest.
nice of you. Yeah. No, dude, all those bands that's like the stuff that I listen to when I'm listening to. Well, I guess it's not heavier stuff, but like, yeah, dude, that really means a lot to me. That's really cool. I appreciate that. I haven't gotten that one, so
Oh man, well, I
that's
mean,
really nice.
I also hear like elements of Caleb Shomo in your vocals as well. So I mean, it's like this amalgamation that just kind of makes it your own.
Yeah, that and like where we currently live, like the rivaling school Caleb went to. So like
went
we're
to
like in the
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, we like I never met him on that level. I went to his house one time to record. But yeah, I mean that's also a massive compliment. I think he's absolutely amazing. And it's just somehow just keeps ascending and getting better. And I don't know how that's possible. But yeah, he's amazing. I really appreciate that. And the Emery thing is so cool, dude. I really appreciate that.
Dude.
You just made us all day.
Yeah, I'm a little red. Goddamn.
Dude, you're one of very few people I know that actually listens to Emery. Like I grew up listening to them and Norma Jean and Showbread.
Yeah.
I mean,
Man, Norma Jean. That's a name I've heard in a while.
There's a girl I know that I'm friends with whose daughter's name is Emery. I'm surprised you say that.
Dude, that's
maybe
so
I just got like a specific circle. Yeah,
No, yeah.
I thought they were like you don't think they're like a huge band or
they're a huge band, but like in a niche way. It's kind of crazy, like when you think about it, like the amount of people I can tell, hey, go listen to Emery, and they're like, I've never heard of them. What are they? Versus the people that are like, oh, dude, Emery, fuck yeah, and it's like,
yeah.
I've been listening since 2005, my friends. I'm like, you know.
It's like those people that have been to Warped Tour though know exactly who the fuck they are though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anthony, so like I gotta ask, what are some of yours? I've had bassists on before, and a lot of the times they're like they'll say that they're hugely inspired by funk or disco just because like the rhythmic patterns. So I'm very curious to see what yours are.
So that's interesting because when I was learning to play bass, because I picked up guitar a little bit when I was a kid, and kind of like every like 6 to 10 year old, they kind of mess with it and don't really do too much unless they get serious with it. So I quit for a couple of years, came back, and my dad, who grew up listening to a lot of new wave in his time, was listening to Duran Duran, and I was like, that bass sounds cool. That like, but eventually, what it became for me was jazz music. I don't know why, but it just has something to it. Like you can improv. I mean, you can get away with all different kinds of things. You can play it differently, the same piece differently. I don't even know how many times. And when I was taking private lessons, I had a teacher who was like, you're going to learn how to use your whole instrument and learn how to improv. And he's like, trust me, this isn't helping you with jazz. This is going to help you with other things. So like having that base has really helped me to like into metal when you have, crazy, rhythms on breakdowns or just really weird riffy parts, like parts of spiritual, especially while trying to do vocals and sing too. Like I have some tough spots in the set and it's taught me how to do a little bit of independence, but I mean, I love jazz music, but as far as metal, like, man, I'm not gonna lie, I love good breakdowns, but I mean, I can go from Body Snatcher and like Spite's one of my favorite. Talking like heavy deathcore, it's Spite for me all day. Darius is crazy. But I mean, one of my favorite band of all time is Polaris. I mean, I have a tattoo of them. I think their songwriting is amazing. They do something different with every album. I feel Currents is huge. But I mean, I also grew up when I was like 14, like starting my dive into metal. I was doing a lot of pop punk, so like All Time Low is huge for me. I love Paramore. I mean, even hard rock like Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace. I mean, I love those bands. So I mean, I'm not a hard person to like. I don't really listen to a lot of rap or a lot of country, but really anything else, I'm game.
Yeah. It's crazy, and I'm not just going to harp on these two bands, but it's crazy that you mentioned Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace. Almost every guest I've had has been influenced by them, no matter the genre.
Absolutely.
And it shows how much their impact permeated all of the circles. And it's like, vocalists that may listen to deathcore are still like, oh yeah, I jam Breaking Benjamin on a daily. It's just like, they were that impactful. You mentioned pop punk, so like, were you an Easy Core fan as well?
I mean, maybe not too much. I was kind of from like high school into like probably until my senior year, I was just all over the place discovering new music. Like 1 month I would just be listening to Whitechapel nonstop. The next month I would be like, All Time Low came out with a new album. Listen to that all month long. I mean, it was just constantly rotating. But I mean, if we're talking like lighter, easier stuff, it's All Time Low, it's Paramore, it's Neck Deep. I love me some Neck Deep. I mean, gosh, what else? Modern Baseball's up there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I also love A Day to Remember, but I also, in the same breath, I love like Mr. Highway's Thinking About the End. But I also will turn around and be like, If It Means a Lot to You is awesome too. Like, it doesn't really matter for me. But which is kind of to bring it all full circle. Like, the thing I like about the way that we're starting to write more stuff is because I have an affinity for different genres. Matt will be like, well, this one's a little bit more like electronic-y and like it's got like its dynamic parts of like energy and then it slows down. I'm like, dude, I'm all about it. Like, let's go. I'm not a picky music person.
No, absolutely. It goes back to what I was saying earlier too. Like, you never want to confine yourself to a box, especially like structure wise, right? And where you grew up in the roots of jazz, I feel like you're kind of embedded with this free flowing rhythm to where you can kind of play outside the box naturally.
I mean, there's been times where, because Matt knows my secret to breakdowns that I love is just triplets, and it comes from that jazz, like the da 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 da. I'm like, that's how you make great breakdowns. That's it. But I mean, there's been times where, and I'm not the only one to do this. Our guitar player, one of our guitar players, Justin, does this sweet guitar dive in our live in Virus. I've thrown some bass slides here and there. There's been a couple of lines where, like we mentioned before, Matt can't do it because they're overlapping. So I'd be like, maybe instead of like singing this, I just scream it. It goes into the breakdown. Or there's just been times where in the middle of the song, I'm not telling anybody. I'm like, this is going to sound cool. We're just going to go for it and see I get a yay or an A. It's going to be one of the two.
But it's always a yay. It's always a yay.
It's always a yay.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I sit.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I mean, I think breakdowns are like one of those things where if you think it needs to be faster, don't. Just go slower. Go sludgier and just hit the china as hard as you can until the person is against the wall.
Hot take. The best breakdowns aren't just open chugs. They have some crazy stuff in there. Like, one of my favorite breakdowns is Lucid by Polaris. Like, the best breakdowns are not just chugs.
No, I agree. Like, I grew up listening to like I'm a diehard Pantera fan, so like
Mm.
I think of Dimebag when I'm thinking
Yeah.
breakdowns. I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah.
of Crowbar. like
Oh yeah.
uh,
I mean, my
Sledge-
mom raised me on Judas Priest.
oh, okay.
So there's that. Yeah, weird. My dad did Duran Duran and Billy Joel. My mom was like Aerosmith and Judas Priest. So that's kind of how I like snowballed into metal eventually.
So I mean, it's really cool to always hear like what everybody's extremes are for inspirations. Like you said, Duran Duran all the way to Spite and
Yeah.
Body Snatcher. It's like for me, it goes U2, Depeche Mode, all the way to Whitechapel and Cannibal Corpse and 10
Yeah.
years and everything in between. And it's like you learn as an individual when you just kind of you find your style. You learn that inherently you kind of take parts of what you've learned from all these other bands and kind of apply it to your style without thinking about it.
Black Tongue does have some slow breakdowns, I gotta admit.
Dude,
They do.
Yeah.
What is it? I think it's one of my favorite Bloods ever. I think it's Faux Hammer. The drop on that is just nasty. It's gross. I mean, don't get me wrong, slow chugs can be good, but it doesn't always equal great.
are you a Paleface Swiss fan?
I am.
Huge.
I
Huge.
really like them. If I'm going hardcore, like more on the hardcore raw side, like Kublai Khan.
Oh, dude. Okay.
Kublai Khan. I mean, with the classic breakdown method of build, breakdown, but only bass and drums. Guitar comes in on the second half. I'm like, okay, all right. They kind of mastered that.
Firehound Gaming saying their favorite slow breakdown is Recreant by Chelsea Grin.
That's
I love that
All
song.
of Goddamn
That's
Nation.
a good one.
Dude,
Yeah.
that you want
that
to
whole
talk about
album.
the OG MySpace. It was like Chelsea Grin, Whitechapel, Job for a Cowboy.
Job for a Cowboy. I was about to say Job for a Cowboy.
The very
Yep.
first deathcore song I ever heard was the Doom EP by Job for a Cowboy on a MySpace project playlist.
That's amazing. I love
That's
that.
so funny.
I'm showing my
yeah.
age.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I think
No, that's how it
Disengage
works.
by Suicide Silence.
Dude,
Yep.
Mitch has got to
Yep.
be one of the
Oh,
goats.
up
dude.
there, way up there.
Like no shade thrown at Will Ramos or any of the current ones that we got, but I mean, for me, it's Phil, it's Mitch, it's what's his name from Job for Cowboy? I can't remember his name.
I don't
right
remember
now.
his name, but I agree.
Yeah.
And then Hermida, who went on to be in Suicide Silence. I mean, from All Shall Perish, it's like the amount of depth that their vocals have. Like everybody compares Alex Terrible, and I love Alex Terrible, but I mean, go back to like the early 2000s when vocals weren't as widely known for the harshness anymore. And dude, Mitch has got to be like one of the top tier for range.
Oh, yeah.
I could sing the praises of MySpace deathcore until I die, but
Blood Rain's Black.
dude, yes, Oceano.
Yeah,
I mean,
Oceano. It's funny because I was I think it was today. I listen to music while I work with AirPods, and I think it was today. I forget which song it was, but something off of Allegiance came on, and I was just like, oh man.
Those were the days, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys a band that you should look up if you don't know, and it's an older band called Blood Has Been Shed.
I've heard of them.
You have? Okay.
I've
Have
heard of
you,
them.
Maddie?
I don't.
No,
like,
I'm a.
if you play
put it
them,
down
I
here.
wouldn't be like, that's them, but I've definitely heard the name.
So Blood Has Been Shed is actually Howard Jones's band before Killswitch.
That's what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It's
that was
nothing
his
but harsh
project
vocals.
before. Yeah.
Huh.
But I mean, we kind of went all over the place with that one, so I apologize on behalf.
Oh, that's
Nah, it's all good.
But I love doing this. I love getting to know the guests that I have on, and I can obviously tell there's like this kindred spirit between all of us for music and the passion that we share. But also, I want to dive into some of the mental reasoning behind the songs as well. Maddie, you said that you're a big time mental health advocate, and only if you're comfortable with talking about it. Like, what kind of got you on that path to where you really needed to discuss your mental state?
Yeah, no, of course. I'm always comfortable about it. I think it's important to, have open, candid talks about that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I think it's just something that, and I appreciate you sharing your story too, by the way, from earlier. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, um, but yeah, I think just for whatever reason, maybe genes mostly. I've just been kind of dealt a shitty hand with mental health issues, and that's manifested in different ways. The band has been extremely understanding and patient with me as I try to figure out ways to work around, or figure out what it is I'm going through. Whether that's just like, um, I mean, there's a long list: generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, PTSD, OCD. Um, the one that is the worst right now is agoraphobia. That
Oh yeah.
um, I feel like for whatever reason, maybe recently it has been, but for whatever reason, not a lot of people know what that is, and it's really hard, man. And this isn't like a sob story for me. I'm just saying in general, I think that it should be talked about a lot more, and that's why we do what we do. But there are days, where um, I like I know I have to do something, and I know, and this is way past like, you know, thinking certain things or behavioral therapy or whatever. We're just having a really bad day, right? And I go, I got to go to the gas station because I need food for my dog, or toilet paper or something, just something silly. Um, and I go, the only way I'm going to get there is by having a panic attack where I have them all the time. Doesn't matter. I'll talk myself through it. Doesn't matter. Have them all the time. I've survived 100% of them. It doesn't matter. Let's just go and do the thing. And sometimes those days end up in um, me not being able to do it and breaking down and being really vulnerable with myself. And luckily being able and feeling comfortable enough to be vulnerable with the guys in the band as well. But and there's sometimes where just that happens. I'll go to the gas station right down the street and I will think that I am dying. It will feel like I'm dying. I'll call a parent. I'll scream. I'll yell. I'll freak out. I'll have to pull over. And it's just one of those things where some days you wake up and that isn't the case. And one of the things that I think everyone can resonate with is uh, whether it's mental or physical. And I could go deeper into the mental thing like 1,000 times, but whether it's mental or physical, I think it's really important to cherish and understand um, the good days, the days that you're in good health, and realize, regardless of what you believe in, anything like that, but like realize how much a blessing it is to have days, have moments, count the moments, count the times where you're really just you're healthy, you're mentally healthy, you're physically healthy. Maybe not at the same time. Maybe it's 20%, but like you take what you can and you just keep working as much as you can. I've been prescribed SSRI since I was like 13, so um, it's really been difficult. But something that I feel like there's plenty of bands that talk about mental health, and I think going back to your question about like direct lyrics, um, is I feel like there's a lot of bands that do talk about mental health, and there's I feel like not enough that are kind of like, "Hey, middle finger" kind of thing, and I think that like those bands and artists are increasing. I think like a lot of people just in general in society are becoming like so numb to everything that like that stuff is needing to get talked about more and more.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that it's getting talked about more. I'm not thankful how numb everyone is to everything. But yeah, it just manifested itself into a band because I was really upset. I was writing stuff that would turn into lyrics. I didn't really have much of an outlet besides that kind of stuff, and I was like, well, I can scream. I love screaming. I like doing vocals, and it's extremely, especially like live and stuff. That has been an extremely cathartic experience for me. Um, Very therapeutic, and I just know that like teenage me or someone growing up that might not have it all put together yet. Like I would want to hear some of those things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and I feel like I didn't as a kid, and yeah, and I'm still dealing with it now. So that's really where that comes from, and luckily the guys have been uh, super backing me, um, being able to and comfortable with me writing lyrics um, like that because some bands don't want to be jarring or anything like that and write the super vague songs, but yeah, we I feel like we joke around all the time. If you like stepped in a band practice with us, yeah, anyone would be like, are you guys serious? But like
If anyone
I,
steps in your practice, you're not a real band.
yeah, they'd be like, oh god. But like I think that we're legitimately a band that like every word and like every note is something that when we put it together we really care about it.
Yeah.
um we really mean it, and we really try to show that live. We try to show that with everything that we do. um so I just hope that people take it that way, and I hope we've had like really cool, really positive conversations with people like at shows, at the merch table, whatever, that um, are just so heartbreaking in like the most positive way. That means so much, and that's just completely validating to everything that the band is, at least for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go on forever, man, but
No, you're
yeah, that's
I,
that's
I completely understand where you're coming from. Especially with having a band back you and letting you deal with things like I wrote a song for the band I'm a part of, and it has nothing to do with my upbringing or anything, but somebody that I knew, and it deals with SA.
mhm,
um trigger warning for those that may be listening, but and then I have another song called Damaged, that I wrote for my friend Z. He committed suicide about 19 years ago,
Mm.
mhm,
and I wrote it from the perspective of if he could have been if he could have been brought back, basically, like screaming and pleading for help. And it's like I feel the need to do these things just like you, because it wasn't there growing up, and
mhm.
I'm making music not only to heal and deal with the things that I have going on currently, but to heal the 15-year-old version of me as well that
Yeah,
started developing these things, because I have, BPD, bipolar, I also have epilepsy. So it's like, when you were talking about the fuck you to mental health, I wrote a song a few years ago, and trigger warning for the people listening. This is a little bit vulgar, but it's called "Headed to the Grave," and it's literally about face fucking epilepsy, because I am just over dealing with it. Like I have
yeah,
convulsions and everything else, and it's like I remember writing it and I sent it to somebody and they're like, why are you doing this? Like you're never gonna do anything with this track. It's like, no, fuck you. Like this is what I needed. Like
mhm,
you don't understand. And for you to be as open as you were with, the agoraphobia and the general anxiety disorder, I can't thank you enough for that.
yeah, of course, always.
I want to ask you, and we don't have to stay on it too long, but with agoraphobia, like that's the fear of, like, kind of just going in general places, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So with that, I mean, it's funny that you say that, not in a ha-ha way, but in just, a general sense, because Matt Sassano, last week's guest, has a disability called dyscalculia, and he gets anxiety because he actually has no sense of direction. So he has
Oh,
to rely on everybody to get him where he needs to go on
yeah.
tour, everything. And so it's just like this big cluster. But what was it kind of like going through COVID with the agoraphobia, or was it present at that point?
Oh no, it's been present for over a little over a decade now. Um, yeah, I can't imagine what was that called? Dyscalculia? Is that what
Yeah,
that was called?
dyscalculia. Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah, well, because of the agoraphobia, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I know, like, you walk in somewhere with me, and I'm like, we took a left here, we took a right here, I know how to get out of here.
Yep.
Um, I thought you were gonna ask about like touring and stuff like that. Which is hilarious because like, of course, that's what I want to do with agoraphobia. But yeah, anchoring anyway. The answer to that is anchoring yourself to things like a
Yep.
van or a bus or something. Anyway, but yeah, COVID was really really bad. Because for the thing that helps me most, is however anyone wants to word it, exposure therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, where you go out and do like I just find stupid reasons to do things that don't matter. Like a thing. I mean, who can afford Starbucks every day? But like when I was getting like Starbucks every day, there was a period of time where I was doing that. I would get it at different Starbucks locations, going, "Hey, I already ordered it. I already spent the money. I gotta go get it." And like
Hmm.
that kind of gives me a purpose to go and uh, go on a route that I don't usually go on, or something like
Yeah.
that. Go somewhere that makes me a little nervous. I don't even know if Anthony knows all this stuff, but
Oh
so
wow.
yeah,
I
so
know some of it, but I'm also learning.
yeah. So um, during COVID, when that stuff shut down, I kind of uh, to kind of just keep my sanity in check. I really, luckily at the time during COVID, um, I think it's like it's like a mom and pop guest house, I think is what they call it. And I was living in one of those. I was renting it out, which was really cool actually. They sold the house, so I couldn't stay there. But it was a really cool place, and luckily, um, my backyard was a college football stadium. Uh, like there was like a little wall, and then if you walked around it, it's a college football stadium. So if I did not have that, I would go out there every day and just kind of walk around, kind of just do something, to kind of, can't stare at the computer screen and not do nothing every single day. Like I'll lose it.
Yeah.
Like I just won't be able to like live. Like I would just survive at best, And so yeah, that was really difficult, but um that living situation I was in was such a weird saving grace. Um, it was
Yeah.
kind of cool, but yeah, I think, and I think a lot of people, just in general, have developed so many issues because of COVID and everything that had happened, that it's like it just makes me mad on a very bare surface level of like why why are we not talking about this more, doing more things about this? I don't mean in the traditional sense, but like there should be like more rehabilitation places that aren't uh, aggressive but want to help people. Um, and it just blows my mind. Um, but yeah, COVID was a tough one for sure. Um, I don't know how I I don't know how I got so lucky with where I was at, but um, if I didn't, I would. I don't know, man. Would have been really bad or worse than it was.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I could imagine like during COVID, I only did it for a month, but I was a stay-at-home not telemarketer, but like an insurance claim, and like everything was shut down in my area by like 8, 9
Mhm.
o'clock, and I didn't get off work till 7 p.m. And so
Yeah.
it's like I developed like this auditory sensory deprivation like really bad. Like I
Yeah.
had nobody to hang out with because my friends were doing third shift, but I had to be in bed because I had to be up at 5 to do my
Mhm.
next shift at home. And it's like I started realizing that I needed constant audio after COVID happened because it was like everything was so shut down and nobody to hang out with or anything like that. And it increased my anxiety so much. And just staring at the same 4 white walls for like a month straight, dude, like I wanted to just put honestly just like put a bullet in myself during it because it was one of the most depressing times.
Yeah.
Um, and like for you to be able to come out on the other end of it though means so much because you're not only dealing with the anxiety of going to places but also the chance of catching the
Yeah.
virus, and it's like I give you all the props in the world for being able to overcome that and also go on tour. Like you guys are
Yeah.
also a touring band, and so Anthony, like going to you for a moment, how did COVID, if at all, kind of affect you?
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, I had a child during COVID uh, in 2020, which was an interesting time with things being shut down, learning to be a parent during all of that. I'm seeing that too. Learning to be a parent during all of it and going through some family stuff at the time outside of the one that I had started. It was really interesting. And, I was talking about mental health. Like, I've been super self-conscious about it the whole time. I have Tourette's, so I like twitch a bunch, which is why I've been trying to like constantly move my hands so I'm not just sitting here twitching. But it's something I deal with, and it's like even just now, like Matt's talking, and I'm like, am I twitching too much? I don't know. And then I get like super nervous about it. But then
You're golden, man.
like the anxiety of being at home in the same four wall just makes those other things that you have mentally wrong, or I shouldn't say mentally wrong, but any other mental health issues that you might have, and it just puts them all to 11. Like, and especially with agoraphobia or anything else, just not seeing your friends or going out, like it just makes it so much harder. Yeah, COVID was really rough time. I mean, I was going through some other things on top of that, which I'm sure many other people. I mean, we all did. We all have stuff going on. It was a challenging time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, real quick, man, I really appreciate your openness with sharing that.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me that you felt, it was a safe enough place to be able to do that. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, kind of Matt touched on it earlier, but I mean, the whole point of the band, and I mean, even going further, just myself, the way to raise mental health awareness, and not just that, but to get people just on a personal level, like instead of avoiding, bad situations, talk to your friends and talk about your mental health issues. We can't help each other if we don't talk about it and we don't, know about it. Like Matt's been gracious enough to be vulnerable with us to say, hey, I have, these things going on in life, or these things with my mental health. And, we've been able to come back and like, excuse me, and not just understand that, but, give him the space and realizing that, maybe some of the stuff he's dealing with, he's writing about. So, I'm sure he has a process for it. And obviously everyone is different. Everyone has, like Matt mentioned, he does like whatever they call it, exposure therapy, or
Yeah.
or a little bit at a time. There's been other things, like I recently tried meditation as well, just because it's a physical thing for me. It's a nervous system thing. I'm twitching all the time, and it's genetic. Like my mother has it, my half sister has it, my half brother has it. I think my maternal grandfather had it, or something along those lines. But trying to meditate and just breathe is kind of something that helps me with it being a nervous disorder thing. Because of course, the worse my anxiety gets, I just twitch. I've had people be like, "Are you on drugs?" Like, no, I'm just freaking out right now and I can't stop twitching.
Mhm.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
hope I've not increased your anxiety.
no, not at all. That's the thing too, is like at the same time when I say this is it's our responsibility to take care of our mental health issues, but in this, it's our responsibility to ask for that help. You can't take care of it if you don't get the help, and you can't get the help if you don't talk about it. This is something we have to continue to not just talk about, but raise the awareness and also understand there's no blanket situation, blanket solution. We have to do this case by case. We're humans. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you as well for the stories you said that you wrote about, like in the songs you wrote about, and like the epilepsy thing, because I think a lot of these situations, I feel like it's one of those things where someone asks, "Hey, how are you?" and you're having the worst day ever, and you're like, "Oh, I'm fine," and it's one of those things where it's like, if it's a lot of these conversations aren't going to be fun conversations to have if there's a lot going on, but again, specifically like you said with the epilepsy thing, it's one of those things where it's like, just for me, from like an outside perspective, is like, dude, I hope this song does great. That would be great, but like, if that's what you needed at that time, therapeutically, whatever you needed to to fight through that's the most important thing to me. I don't like, and it's amazing that there are all of these. It just doesn't feel like music is the level of mainstream yet to me, to where that like it's an acceptable thing. So yeah, a lot of these conversations, hopping on what Anthony said, like I think we're really open to having these conversations because we've had a decent amount of them, whether it's like at shows or people messaging, and there's a lot of them aren't fun conversations to have, but understanding, even if you don't have to reach out to somebody, but knowing someone is there, can already make the world of a difference. So I think, I don't want to speak for Anthony as well, but like I think that like this is something the band will always be down to talk about, always connect with people on. There's no, we're
Absolutely. I mean, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like that's, I mean, even from the like you said, the band perspective, and if we're going the personal one, it's if we're not open to talk about it, how are you going to convince people like this is what we do? But then the singer and the bass player go on a podcast and they claim up, they don't talk about their stuff. It's like
we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, like Matt, talk about your agoraphobia, and I don't want to do that. Okay, well, isn't this your whole thing? Like, who are we, right? I mean, I'm a huge believer in leading by example, and this is part of that.
Yeah. I completely agree with both of you. Maddie, where you said that, it's up to us to bring it to the forefront and to have these hard conversations. It's, that's the sole reason this podcast was created. Was there's so many music-based podcasts, and I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to be, where we get into the mindset of things that are going wrong with, not wrong, but things that are going on in the mental psyche. And it's like, there's so many bands that are talking about things, but not always willing to, like Anthony said, and I always say this to my guests, but it means the world to me when I have such open individuals to being vulnerable to what they have going on, because to me, those are the times where you get those little nuggets of truth that you kind of take with you, either for the next day or week or for the rest of your life. Like I take little bits of information from every single podcast. And I mean, I hope it's okay to ask this, Anthony, but how has having Tourette's affected your musical journey, if it's okay to ask?
Oh, absolutely. I'm an open book with that kind of stuff. It doesn't bother me at all. The music thing has been actually very much a saving grace, and there's just something about, and Matt can attest to this, the second like we hit play to start the set, it just goes away. And I'm in that moment, like especially on stage. I remember watching watching back the live videos from the Bless the Fall show, and I'm like, I don't know if I twitched one time during the entire set. It's really something that allows my brain to just kind of just turn that off and focus on this instead. And I mean, it doesn't really, affect the learning process as much. It's more of the learning process is part of that. I'm sorry, the learning process. The music is part of that. And actually, I think what I was trying to say was, for me, like Matt said, I'll just come back and learn something. Is me loving music, and I think one of my strengths is learning to play music rather than versus like writing or anything like that. Is that just allows my brain to go all in on this, and I can just shut off other parts of my brain.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know for me, I kind of become a different person when I'm on stage or at practice. It's like
Absolutely.
everything that the world has done to me throughout the week, it's like I can let it all go. And
Mhm.
I am just one with the band that I'm at, and we're joking, we're having a good time. And then, like, my epilepsy is the farthest thing from my mind. It's like
Oh, absolutely.
it you really do find a catharsis, right? Especially like when you have these disadvantages, because it's like there's not many things in this world that kind of get you out of your head, and you need to value the things that truly do.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what it's all
I,
about.
and the Liars Pacifist podcast, I couldn't agree more. It's weird where, um, the stage thing is like once we're playing, you feel like a different person. It's a completely different thing. Have you run into are people accommodating for the epilepsy and stuff with playing shows, or does it affect you in that way?
So so with the band I'm a part of, Killbait Overdose, we've only actually done one live show, but
Okay.
we have this huge lighting rig
Yeah.
um that we all went in on. So but it's like, we have the movers that are constantly going in everything. So if I'm facing this way and the lights are like above me or behind me, I'm golden.
Okay.
But if I'm at a concert and I'm looking and the lights are like, flashing so freaking fast that I can't feel my face,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to have a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. I was just
Like,
curious you know, how that
oh,
relationship
no,
worked
no, no.
out.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm completely open with it. I try not to talk about it too much during the podcast because I never want somebody to think I'm taking away their story. But if it blends
Oh,
in, like I
no.
always talk, like there's certain things I can't do, like VR.
Yeah.
I wish I could. Like I have a couple kids in my life that absolutely love virtual reality. They just got the new I think Meta Quest one for Christmas, and they wanted me to
Yeah,
try
yeah.
it, and I disassociate really badly. Like
Okay.
I have to be told that I'm still on the earth, basically. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
really bad.
Yeah. So you just kinda, "Hey, I'm not gonna be a part of that, but, like, you guys enjoy it," kinda thing.
Yeah. Oh
Just
yeah.
kinda yeah.
I
Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, it's like you said, like we all kind of get dealt these hands in life, right? And it's up to us to do what we can with it. Like I can sit here and I can rattle off the things that I can't do, and there's a lot. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like I mean, I can't drive. That's a big one.
Mhm.
It affects a lot in my everyday life. But if I'm gonna dwell on that, it takes so much away from the positives. And I'm not saying I'm positive all the time. None of us are. I don't care who you are. I don't care
Yeah.
what your message is. You're never going to be positive 100% of the time unless you're on something that is not prescribed.
Yeah. Yeah.
but
100%.
but I mean, I love bringing awareness and being able to hear these stories about how you all deal with these things, and it's very eye-opening to me when I hear how, say with Anthony and how he has to deal with things and how you have to deal with things. Because my dude, agoraphobia is like one of the hardest things to have while you're trying to be a touring band. I mean, I
It's
I
really
have a
scary.
yeah, I have a friend, Patrick, aka Steve, amazing artist. And he has an autoimmune issue where, like, if he gets sick, he can get like deathly sick.
Oof.
And
Yeah.
I mean, he can't really tour, but he does his local area up in Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas. And it's like getting to know these stories, it in a like perverse way almost empowers me to like just keep going and push through. And while I'm thinking about it, a huge shout out to Liars Pacifist. That's my brother in podcasting arms, Will Brawley. You all should definitely get with him to get an episode going.
It will.
He has a interesting take on the way he does his podcast, very similar in aspects to mine, but also very different. So you guys should definitely hook up with that.
Yeah.
We're
It's
coming
solid.
up at the hour 30 mark, so I just got a few more questions for you guys, and I can't thank you enough for your time.
Our
I'd be-
pleasure, dude.
No, we love doing it.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely remiss to not say this, but for those watching and in the comments, Matt is actually the one that reached out to me, and he was actually the very first person to ever reach out to me about being on the podcast. And Matt, it meant the world to me to see that, like to know that, you know, I've actually reached out to somebody through the screen and be like, oh, this is a really cool thing, and then to want you to actually be on it, man, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, dude, I think like one, I mean, like you're an amazing guy, but two, I think the conversation's so important. And I know I said this like right before the stream started, and I wish I remember who had posted a podcast somewhere in a Facebook group, but yeah, I mean, like I think this kind of goes with what you were saying a little bit. I feel like it's kind of like this sobering reality a little bit when you meet all these people, and you go, there's so much going on with my life. What am I supposed to do? And then you kind of find out, of course, there's a ton of different levels and stuff. It's very confusing. It's not black and white, but it's like everyone does have like some shit going on. You know what I mean? Like for the most part, you find that more than not. But beside that, yeah, I mean, this was, dude, we are literally a band that plays breakdowns and also a band that talks about mental illness. So like I
Right.
was, yeah, I watched the episode and I was like, I mean, I gotta hit this guy up. Like this is such a sweet conversation. So yeah, of course, man. And seriously, like all the love to you and what you're doing, because I think we all agree in the band that like this stuff matters. These conversations matter big time.
They really do, and I know I have a very small audience, and I realize that. But if one of the people that's watching gets anything out of what we're talking about, or just laughs at something that we've talked about, like to me, that's a job well done, and that's a job worth coming back, you know, week after week to do, because it's a cathartic thing for me, man, too, because like I can sit here and just not necessarily turn my mind off, because I do, you know, look, I do think about the questions and everything else, and I want it to be as you know, as great as it can, because you all are giving me your time. So I can't necessarily shut my brain off, but I can let kind of everything go for a while. And
Yeah.
today's been one of those days, man, where my bipolar has been like on the verge of just really crushing me. Like there was a part today where I was like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I was at work, and I work at a hotel. I do what's called room prep, and we ended up having like 56 rooms. So it was like 56 rooms I had to go in and strip and do all the restock for. And I was like, I got overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie. And there was a part of me, I was like, dude, like, fuck it. Like, why am I even trying today? And then I was like, I know why I'm trying, because I want to hear the stories. I want to get to know these dudes that reached out to me. And I was like, I started listening to your music, man, when you first hit me up, but I really started paying attention today. And like Virus, dude, Virus hit me like a ton of bricks, man. I really want to know the backstory behind that one before we close anything out.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I guess the vague meaning thing goes, it kind of was a song that works as like a duality thing. Um, it both I guess from the lyric side, it kind of overlaps. It's one about people that just like I don't really think there's many people out there like this, but the people that just they get whatever they want. They have everything figured out. They don't have to deal with anything. They don't, and then those same people turn around on people that have problems, and they're like, "What's wrong with you? You're such a problem." Blah blah blah. So there is a direct correlation that was written that way, like through me. Liars Pacifist also asked, like for a song like Virus, whether the lyrics will be relatable if that gets in the way of a song getting finished. For a song like Virus, no, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Because sometimes the emotion is more important to me. But there are times where, like, you want to deliver a message and maybe rephrasing things to, but like we said, the lyrics are a bit direct. But with Virus, it's kind of like a hey, to those people. And that's apparent from the start of the song. But I've had a lot of people tell me, and it also can be taken this way and is partly written this way, um, as a back and forth between yourself and people have talked about there's like kind of low talking, kind of mumbly stuff as part of like a mental health thing, a voice in your head, a demon or something going on that you're trying to fight. And the I guess the polarity between that struggle that just never stops in your head. So that song can be related as a mental health song. It was written that way in conjunction with, like, I was so mad at people I was mad at people not understanding that, like, people that don't have those issues in their lives, that won't ever have those issues, and they think like there's not a mental health problem, come on. And it's just like, if you would just shut your mouth, man, like, you really don't know. So that was just kind of it, as far as writing lyrics and stuff. That song was pretty easy to get through because it was one of those where it was just like verbatim, straight, just like, oh, I wish you knew, dude. I really wish you knew. Like, I wouldn't put that on anybody, but like, you can't say that stuff. So
No.
That's kind of where that comes from. So,
dude, yeah. I truly appreciate you going into the backstory of that. And you're right, man. Like, I still deal with people in and around me that are like in and around my environment that are like, mental health isn't real. It's like, it's just like, oh, are you feeling good today? Well, you need to. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, I literally have a chemical imbalance that makes it not work that way. I'm so sorry that I'm not perfect.
Yeah, I've verbatim said the same words to people, actually. And I think one of the biggest things that I feel like comes down to, like, this whole thing with mental health is, like, if you are not dealing with something like that, that is completely fine. Hats off to you. And you don't need to understand what someone else is going through. Just respect it. That's all. Yeah. Just respect it. You don't say you don't have it, you're weak, you're small, whatever. Like, I know there's a lot of, like, toxic masculinity parts as far as guys go with mental health, because we've lived that experience as men. But in whatever. But there's, like, a lot of toxic masculinity stuff. But if someone has it, hey, man, you're not going through with it. Or you're not going through with it. You're not going through it. So, like, that's already awesome for you. Like, everyone can live in harmony together, but, like, you just have to respect it and understand that it's a thing. And maybe you won't get it. Maybe you try to get it. But if you're just blatantly, that's not a thing, you're just a wuss. It's like, and I'm using really polite terms.
Just nailed it. I was about to say, the people who usually say there's nothing wrong with me are either lying to themselves or just don't know it yet.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Ignore everything I just said.
No. Not at all.
I mean, the way I see it, man, I think you're right, but I'm a full believer in and balancing everything, and not everything is absolute or forever. So like you're not going through it right now, but you
Right.
know we all go through seasons. Like the past couple months might be really hard for someone, but then 2 years from now they're having the time of their life. Just because you're not going through it right now doesn't mean I didn't 2 weeks ago, or you're not going to in 5 years, or whatever that looks like. Life is full of change.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you are wrestling fans. I used to be a diehard. Now I'm a casual. But Triple H said in a press conference about a year ago, he said, if you're the same person that you were 10 years ago, you have majorly fucked up.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was him, but I agree with that.
Yeah.
Not huge on wrestling, but that is extremely well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's one of my favorite quotes to go with every day. And the other one is actually by an actor turned bodybuilder named Ethan Suplee. And his was kill your clone, meaning kill who you were yesterday and become a better version every single day.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That is really cool, actually.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if either of you ever watched Boy Meets World.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's 26. I think I was a little too young.
Fuck off.
No, for real though. I know my older half sister watched it a ton, but I'm like I know what it is. I just never watched it.
Well, he played Frankie Stechino in Boy Meets World.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the big dude. Now he's a
Yeah.
jack bodybuilder, man. He went through a whole transformation.
Crazy.
Damn. Yeah, he killed his clone several times, I guess. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Good for him, though. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like two of my favorite quotes to actually, like not necessarily live by, but really think about on a daily basis. And for people to not realize that mental health awareness needs to be a thing, it's one of the things that we need to talk about, because you have it on your Facebook, guys, where you say end the stigma, right?
Yeah.
Like
We have shirts
there's-
that say that too.
oh, I need one of those then. Once I get
Hell
some
yeah.
money, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
grab one of those.
No, we'll hook you up. We'll hook you up.
You guys.
Oh damn. Well, now I'm red.
Stop. Okay.
I know, right? Stop. Jesus. No, wow, you got me all flustered over here. Whew, it's getting hot in here. No, it's like to raise awareness on these things, it needs to be a prevalent thing, because if we don't end the stigma, everybody just becomes desensitized to what's
Yeah.
going on, as a full circle thing, like we were talking about it a while back, where social media has this tendency to just numb the senses and desensitize everybody to the world around them. Like my biggest example of that for me personally was, I remember being a kid when September 11th happened. I was like 10, 11 years old. And it was this traumatic thing, man. I'd never seen anything like that. But
Mhm.
it started almost desensitizing me to death, because like you're literally watching on TV these people jumping off a burning building. And you're
Yeah.
like, how is this not going to affect me the rest of my life? You're not thinking that at the time. But like in hindsight, like seeing that imagery kind of desensitizes you to things. And it's like the more we're fed everything through social media, and the more we're just being told that it's like, oh, it's okay to be this way. Like it's okay to just be an asshole and say that you're an asshole because you have a mental disorder. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Like, yeah, I have an asshole complex. I'm not gonna lie. I have a penchant for being one, but I'm never gonna blame anything that I have as the reason for being one. Like, to me, that's the biggest cop out in the world. I know I'm all over the place on that, but
Yeah.
like it's just a
No,
train of
no.
thought.
Yeah, it's well to your point too. I mean, it's kind of weird because of how much we are fed and how much we are desensitized, and I think social media is definitely a big factor to that. I think there's a ton of different factors, but I feel like for a lot of people, based on other things that have happened post 9/11, and because how people are with time and things as they move on, I feel like with a lot of people, 9/11 doesn't even seem like as bad as, and then you can list all these other things, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, they are bad.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening, and so that's like a normal thing. Like you're right. I don't remember what grade I was in, but I'm a little bit younger than you. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, we were watching this stuff on the TV in school.
Yeah.
And it's like we're just sitting around like, is this like a movie? Like what's happening? Because that was so unacceptable. And probably I'm sure there was events before that it's sad, man. It's
I was
been
just
really
about to
sad.
say, one of the things my dad told me growing up that he remembers is the Challenger and watching that on
Oh
TV.
yeah,
Yeah.
Watching stuff. I mean,
dude.
the thing that people don't realize is I think I don't really know if social media is making it worse. I think it's just well, maybe not so much worse. It's the fact that I can pick this up and go look at anything that's happening in the world where pre-social media we might not have gotten that information either fast enough or at all. And it's so hard now because of the way algorithms are, and I'm not a techie guy in the slightest, but I pick up my phone and we're becoming desensitized because every day it's a new tragedy. I mean, we'll have stuff happen in the Middle East, or I work with 4 Ukrainian ladies who the only reason they have a job here is because they got the hell out, from my understanding. They got the hell out, found an Eastern Orthodoxy church where the pastor hooked them up with jobs so they could just get away from there. I mean, you have the Challenger. I mean, going back, there's always something. And I think really what it does is there's nothing new under the sun. It's up to us to be able to push past that. And, we can't be desensitized, because once we become desensitized, we're allowing it to rule us, not the other way around.
I agree.
I'm worried that it's past that. I just feel like it's so few and far between now. You can even count like school shootings alone in its own category. I won't go on a tangent, but
I mean, yeah, because you said you watched 9/11. I was a little young for that. I remember, I mean, not as a young kid, but when I was I think I was a freshman in high school, I think it was the Sandy Hook shooting.
Sandy Hook.
And that's what it was for me. And I remember my parents actually pulled me out of school because me and Matt went to the same high school, just at slightly different times. But so I don't know how it was for you. I don't know if you were still in school at that point. But the school kept it very hush hush. Yeah. So then on accident, my parents showed me you haven't heard? I'm like, no. So I was so an accident. Not like I wasn't gonna find out anyway. But it's one of those things where it's just like social media and TV, it's so much easier to be exposed to things at such a younger age as well. And alone, mind you, too. It's not like you're with your friends watching. Sometimes it's like this kid who snuck his phone, and 14 years old, he's just doom scrolling at 2 a.m. and he sees this shit and he's traumatized, but he's in his own home. He's not watching this with, people who can support him, whatever that might mean.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm not gonna hate on social media. I mean, it's definitely we've reached the point, I think, where it's integrated in every single part of our lives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For better or worse. Look, I use social media to contact everybody. I can't say I don't. But at the same time, it's I can't help but think how 1984 sounding the world is actually becoming when you really think about it. And it's talking about being desensitized, going back to that real quick. Recently, there was legitimately a woman who was set on fire, and instead of helping put her out, they filmed it.
Yep.
I'm like,
I heard about that.
What is going on that you can watch somebody literally be put on fire and then not even try and attempt to help them?
Yeah.
It pisses me off, honestly, man. It's the world has become so numb to tragedy. It's just oh, well, I mean, if this gets me viral, what can I benefit from somebody else's pain?
Yeah, that
think of all the attention I'm gonna get when I post this, dude. And it's that's a human life, though. What are you doing?
That's one of those. That's a special way to upset me. That gets under my skin more than other things. That specific thing of for doing it for go viral or whatever. Oh my god, that gets under my skin.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm all for do whatever you want to go viral. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt anybody.
Exactly.
Come on.
And if you're not helping, you're hurting. What are you doing?
No.
Yes. Also, amazing album by Bury Your Dead, Hurting Not Helping.
Oh, was that it? Wait, hurting not is it hurting not helping?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know why that just
It's backwards because it's
yeah. Okay.
Oh no, that's the name of the album. You said it
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
No,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
I was yeah.
That was like
But
the hardest thing that's ever been comprehended in my mind for some reason. I have no idea why. Got it.
dude, I get it. I only have a few more questions for you guys, and Matt, Anthony, dudes, I really can't thank you enough. This has been a real joy for me to come on here and get to know you guys, and I want to have you all back. But not only that, I am going to ask, this is the first time I've ever asked anybody this. I want to collaborate with you guys in a way that I've not reached out to others. Like, I want you to just tag me in every single thing that you guys want to. And let's just like raise awareness together, you know? Like, I mean, you all are not the first band that I've interviewed to deal with mental health issues in their music, but you're the first band that has been so open. And I know I'm not anybody, and you guys have actually a much bigger audience than I do, but I really feel drawn to teaming up with you guys in any way that I can.
Yeah, dude. I think that everyone starts somewhere, so I don't care about that. It's about the intentions, and I think that this has been an awesome conversation. I feel like personally, like I feel like I've made a new friend. So yeah, man, anything that we can do to we're doing the same fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I absolutely. I totally agree. And it's honestly it's thank you for taking time out of your day to interview us and have us on, because it's a big deal for us as well. So sorry we blabbered too much, and we spent a pretty decent amount of time just going on and on, but
I love casual conversation, so it's always just really cool when I can get those people that are just like, this has a natural ebb and flow. We can chat, we can talk, we can get to know each other. Within 2 hours, it feels like I got a new friend.
Yeah,
exactly.
So the last couple questions I got is, where can everybody find you, and do you have any new shows coming up?
You want to?
Yeah. Okay. As far as new shows, I'll take that one. We have one coming up on is it the 28th?
Yeah.
We are playing with Within Destruction, a band called Anxiety. I believe it's stylized AXTY. And then another band called Lost in Separation. Really looking forward to that one. I like Within Destruction, good old Slovenian metal. So I'm down.
Ooh, nice.
And then we have some more stuff that we're hoping to get our ducks in a row on, but can't quite talk about yet. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like we are able to announce the other one, but just to be safe.
I feel like we should wait, but it's most likely. But we might have some stuff happening in the spring.
Some heavier stuff.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And
yeah, everything. We have a website that's just fearculture.co, just co. Okay. But yeah, you have the thing. Thank you, by the way. Our link tree.
Yeah, that
has everything that we're
Instagram,
on.
Facebook.
Yeah, we're old people, so we're like Facebook first, but we're trying to get the Instagram and TikTok thing underway. Yeah. Well, we'll make it happen, and we have some new songs and stuff coming out. I sent you a clip of a new song, so we're just waiting for that stuff to roll out to really start pushing the social stuff before, anything else.
Stuff is a brewing.
And for those that are listening and not watching, the link tree is linktr.ee/FRCLTRE. Be sure to follow them, because I have a feeling that these people are going to do some major things in the next year. With that being said, am I allowed to play that snippet?
You have to ask Anthony. It's the breakdown.
Well, you don't have to ask me.
Yeah, I know.
No pressure.
Can you tell me what it is without telling me what it is?
It's the domestic breakdown.
Oh, then we got to do it. It's one of the
Yeah,
best
alright.
breakdowns on the new songs.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we can play it. Yeah, we can play it.
So
God
you
damn
heard it, everybody. Here is the first look at the new Fear Culture song yet to come out called Domestic. I have not listened to this yet, also.
Oh, shit.
Cool.
So this is my genuine reaction. So if I have a seizure, it's on you.
No, don't. It's not. I sent you an audio file. Wait.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my god.
I see sounds. It's okay.
Don't put that on us. Jesus.
Now you're having a breakdown.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna be the one left on the stream, guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
All right.
Oh man.
Here
That's
we
crazy.
go. Want to be a pain. Well, damn.
That's all it is. This is a breakdown.
I was making sure that it was still playing through your alls as well. I was like, oh, this is a new setup for me. So,
Oh, yeah.
dude, I love the chugginess of that. I
Yeah.
love the. Did you say I'm just surviving?
I choose surviving.
I choose surviving.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It'll make more sense when you hear the rest of the song.
The song is called Domestic, so you can probably put it together.
yeah.
But yeah. That's an important one. But yeah, it's you guys were talking about like riffy breakdowns and stuff, and I was sitting over here the whole time, like sweat on my forehead. I was like, oh dude, I just open.
I was about to say, I was
Okay.
thinking that right before we played it. I'm like, I love riffy breakdowns. Plays a chuggy breakdown.
Yeah, just like one note.
Everything has
Poser.
its place.
Posers.
I didn't say anything. Yeah, it's I won't let your abuse become what defines me. I choose surviving.
Dude, that
Wow,
was really awesome. I really enjoyed that, and it definitely has me intrigued to see what the rest is gonna be.
Yeah, it'll be okay, yeah, 100% Lars.
Yeah, we're excited for people to hear it. It's one of the ones I would think it's our guitar player Justin. I think it's his favorite one. Like we all love it. It's so much fun to play live, and it's definitely like the thing I love about it. It's easy for newcomers, new fans, or people at the Rider Show that don't know us. The breakdown is really easy. Da da da. You know, it's not hard to follow along. It's a great one.
That's what I was gonna say about the riffy breakdown. Sometimes you just want to turn your mind off, not worry about what you're playing, and just bang your head, man.
That's
It's
what
just
they're
one of
great
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the last two questions I got for you all. The first one is for both of you. If nothing else really mattered out of this podcast, I want people to take this home, and that is, what would you say to somebody who is wanting to start a band or become an artist and is dealing with some of the same issues that you are, you know, because it also kind of provides that anxiety before you even start.
Do you want to go?
One of the things, at least for my role in the band and what I do and the things that I contribute on my end, and having been in and out of bands before, it can feel really hard to just get started, get off the ground, and especially when you're looking up that mountain, it's like we got to pay producers and get artwork. We got to do all of this.
Yeah.
It can look really, really hard. If you got to start now, because if you don't start now, you know, I'm not going to be able to do this for another year. You blink, your year rolls around, you could have been done. It's of course it's really scary, but you got to just break off a tiny piece, take it bit by bit, because the next thing you know, you just keep climbing. You're at the top of that mountain, but you're never going to get there if you don't just start. It doesn't matter what it is, just start.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I feel like a lot of people want to know, and by all means, by no means do we have it figured out, but I think a lot of people want to know, like, how do we start a band? How do we get going with X, Y, and Z? And it's like the very first thing is, and this is just kind of like a harsh reality, is like if you already want to do it, you've already got to be like trying to write songs,
Yep.
or crafting your instrument, or meeting people and networking with people. You already have to be doing those things because there's already going to be someone one step ahead of you, right? So like you got to be working towards it. But as far as like the mental health side, um, I have my four best friends now in a band with me, and um, honestly, a lot of thanks to the internet. um, with these guys willing to come out and meet up and all that stuff. I don't. I consider myself someone that's been through quite a bit as far as people my age are concerned, but um, there are not people that are weaker than me. If I can do something like this, you guys can do something like it. I said this earlier in the podcast, but one of those nugget things that you brought up, JT, is like one of the things I heard recently was 100% of the hardest things you've been through, you've lived through. You've already beat them. So like
Yeah.
if you're scared about hitting up somebody, I really like this guy. He's not in a band, but like he shreds on guitar and I like playing drum. Just do it. Like what else is gonna happen? You got one life, man. You gotta live it.
Yeah.
And if you know if someone that's hindered with mental health can do it, and there are several examples of that, then you have a shot too. There's no, you know, I
I'd
there's
rather I would rather give it a shot and fail than spend the rest of my life wondering.
yeah, dude. Exactly. And like you
Totally.
said, dude, like crumb by crumb, if that's how it's got to be, that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Anthony and I have been doing this for a long time, man. I'm sure we would like to be in a higher position, but we're working as hard as we can, and that's all we can do.
And progress is not linear.
Yeah,
No. No, I mean to attest to that, like I mean, I've been writing music since I was 15, but I just joined my first band at 33. Like,
there you go.
you know, I mean, it's just one of those things where you never know when it can happen.
Yeah, I don't like the mindset of like, oh, I missed the window of whatever. It could be like anything, right? Like I really wanted to be an actor, but now, and it's like, dude, there are so many like my dad is like he always brings up like Steve Harvey stuff because actually a lot of Steve Harvey stuff is pretty interesting. His life is pretty interesting, but like anything can happen for anyone at any age. It's just like, hey, how bad do you want it? Like
Yeah.
if you really want it, then prove it, and
Yeah.
and it's really, I don't want to say it's as simple as that because that's kind of, but if you want it, prove it.
Well, I mean, to take it back just for a moment to the wrestling aspect, there was a wrestler by the name of DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. He didn't win his first world title in WCW until he was 39 years old, and went on to become one of the biggest stars ever. Like it's,
I
mean,
like that's that's his first one at 39.
yeah,
How many wrestlers retire around that age?
exactly, my dude.
Bingo. I mean,
Yeah.
think about like what I always go to is Morgan Freeman. Think about some of the movies, like his most famous movies. He's later in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know when you're actually gonna, not make it, but just like strike it for you,
Yeah.
like that match, all it takes is one moment.
Yep.
The last question, and I always ask everybody this, I think I have a feeling, but Matt, Anthony, you all went beyond the breakdown with Six Scars tonight. How the hell are you all feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling great. I feel like we met a new friend. I feel like not just a new friend, but someone else who really uh gets on like the same level what we're trying to do. And not only is that comforting, but like the most respect in the world, dude. For real. I had a great time. I'm feeling great.
I think
It's
you
been
said it all. It's been a great experience. It's been fun. We chatted about some fun stuff, some real stuff, and feel like the band made a friend. We individually made friends. I mean, again, it's been nice to talk to someone who not only understands the idea of mental health and the issues and concerns that come with it, but understands it because they too, like the two of us, and I'm sure many other people, are dealing with their own things. And it's just constant reminder that you never know until you talk to someone. And and today that looked like that fruited an awesome friendship and a great conversation.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I really can't thank you enough. But before I wrap up, I did want to ask you guys if you don't mind sticking around after we end the stream for just a few moments. I just wanted to do a little post-show roundup with you guys just to, kind of do the regular thing. But for those that are watching, I'm going to take you guys off the screen and then just do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I will talk to you here in just a minute.
Cool.
Sounds
Thank
good,
you
man.
guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
So everybody, that was Fear Culture. That was Anthony and Matt. I cannot thank them enough for all the time, all the openness, and all the vulnerability that they were willing to talk about and discuss and kind of give us a glimpse into the mindset of how their music works and how their mind works, for that matter. Just a few things to talk about real quick, and that is, if you would like to support the show, please do so by going to patreon.com/Beyond the Breakdown with Six Scars podcast. You can support me for as low as $1 a month. Look, I know it is hard times right now. We are just coming off of Christmas. We're getting ready to go into 2025 somehow. I have no idea how that's even possible. So if you can't, I completely understand. Please don't think that I am going to be upset if you say, hey, I'm not able to right now. But if you are in the future or at any given point, $1 a month, and you will be getting some exclusive perks in the near future, certain reactions, certain different things like that. You can also follow the Beyond the Breakdown podcast at Linktree. It is linktr.ee/BTBpod6scars. And then you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BTBpod. You can follow me on YouTube if you're watching on Twitch right now at youtube.com/6scars. I cannot thank everybody enough for the turnout, to Liars Pacifist, to Eric Myron, to Firehound Gaming, to anybody that I might have missed in the comments. I can't thank you all enough. This has been a hell of a year for the podcast. This is episode 37, and I can't believe it. Like, the amount of time that I have spent behind this camera just talking to some really cool individuals and some really insightful people. It just floors me, man. Like, I'm almost booked up to like 50 episodes, and it's so insane to just think that a year ago I was like stuttering and worried that I was going to say the wrong thing, and here we are. It's kind of like this full circle thing. So everybody, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for anything that you've done to support the podcast, whether it be a share, whether it be a like, a comment, you name it. You all are the reason that I'm doing this, outside of wanting to really bring awareness, but it's the fact that I know the people will show up every single time. So until the next time that we go Beyond the Breakdown, have a wonderful night. Happy New Year.